radars and cameras and things like that. It's important that for you guys to understand solution integration. And what that means to us is that Gatso is the only company that develops and manufactures both its cameras and its detection technology. We don't buy our computer from these guys. We don't buy our strips that we put in the ground from 3M. We don't buy the radars from somebody else and then pull them together. Everything we do here, everything we talk about is designed by a Gatso engineer, built by Gatso technicians, and it all integrates, and you get much more accuracy and much more reliability from the system. It's a one-stop shop. If something goes wrong, we're not going to send you to Nikon because the camera's bad. It's on us. And what that means for you guys is violation rates and credibility. True speed, non-invasive detection. We don't have to dig the road up. We can do it with radar, and a bulletproof chain of evidence that we'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about that single pole solution. 4 parts to a photo enforcement program that I want you to think about today. The first is detection, or radar. The second is imaging, with a camera taking the picture. The third is encryption. And the best way I know to think about encryption is that if you get a ticket from an officer, he's going to come up and he's going to write a whole bunch of information on a ticket and he's going to give it to you, right? All right, in a photo enforcement environment, how do we measure that, or how do we marry or put together that information that the officer writes on the ticket with the correct, proper photo of the violating vehicle? And for us, that's what encryption is, and we'll talk about that. And then finally, back office. How easy is it for you to process violations, send the tickets out, collect the money, and all that kind of stuff? So those are the 4 things that we'll talk about as we work our way through this.
If I can add one point to that, one of the things we're very proud of is that in our 50 years, we have never lost a court case or administrative challenge in regards to our technology. So taking those 4 pieces of a best practices program, we think it's imperative that all 4 have to be solid. Because working in the world market in 60 countries, we have very sophisticated governments, motorists in many countries that have had red light and speed cameras for 20 and 30 years. We really have to be sharp with our technology and have solutions that deliver accuracy out there.
Thanks, Paul. Speed detection. 2 methods from Gatso. The first being in-ground inductive loops. We put 2 of these in the ground, and they take hundreds of measurements, of speed measurements, instantaneously as the car or the truck goes over top. In European countries, we have to provide 3 DNA measures to make sure that it is the car, a proper car, or a truck. We take 5. So that if when a car or a truck or a motorcycle goes over our loops, we'll be able to tell the traffic engineering every month in a report how many cars went through the intersection, how many trucks went through the intersection, how many motorcycles went through the intersection. We can provide you data on how many cars were 0 to 5 miles over the speed limit, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 plus. We can give you traffic engineering folks all that kind of information out of the in-ground inductive loops. The loopless trigger radar sits on the pole over the camera, a little bit bigger than your rear view mirror in your car, and they are lane specific. So if it's a 4-lane road, we put 4 up or 3 or 2 or whatever it might be. They are 98 to 99% accurate in their speed. We can still tell you how many trucks and cars, but it doesn't give quite as much information as the in-ground inductive loops do, but it's non-invasive. We don't have to dig up the road, and you know about freezing and thawing in winters in Ohio. We also can give you true speed and then vehicle positioning for the lane. One of this is as good a time as any to talk about that. One of the cities in Ohio that's had big issues revolved around right turn on red, correct? How do you handle right turn on red and people getting false right turn on red tickets and police departments having to turn down hundreds of these right turn on reds and community getting angry? And we're all guilty of this. Everybody in this room is guilty of this. We come up to the intersection and we're going to make our right turn on red, and we slow down and we peek around the car or the truck and there's nobody coming, and we make our right turn on red. Fair? Technically, you've violated the law. You've run the red light. You made an illegal right turn because you didn't come to a full and complete stop before the stop line. But in the real world, an officer's probably not going to write you a ticket for that at 2 or 3, 4 miles an hour. It's a common sense thing. Our radars, our detection capabilities and ability to designate each lane individually allows us to set that right turn lane. We can set that right turn lane to whatever Zanesville decides. It could be under 5 miles an hour or under 6 or under 4 or however you would want to handle it. and that becomes a non-event in our system, so that we're not plugging up the system with hundreds of people making right turns on red. Officers in the morning don't have to sit there and turn them down, and people don't get tickets for things that are common sense. We don't want photo enforcement to do anything different philosophically than an officer would.
I can tell you in the Chicago area, there's been 2 cities recently who had their programs closed down for that exact reason, that their vendors were using technologies that were not accurate. Community leaders and business leaders were very upset that for shopping centers and residential areas, there are a lot of pictures being taken for that very safe turn. And the problem that our competitors have, and this is everybody in the market, is that they don't provide true speed capabilities. So this gives you the opportunity to set a tolerance, as Yancey alluded to give a threshold. We have customers that set it at 5, we have some up to 20. So it's really customer driven as to what you believe the problem is, and that can change based on seasons or trends as you look at your data.
The loopless trigger radar that I talked about that goes up on the pole in the air, no digging into the ground, non-invasive, no backups on traffic due to road closures. The weather, light doesn't bother, it's easy to install, it's accurate. It's independently configured to each lane, so we can handle the right turn lane, we can handle the left turn, we can do the throughs, you can give red light tickets, you could add speed to that if you wanted to, or you could do just red light tickets and give people warning notices when they speed. There's a lot of different options there of how we can do things to make the community safer. This is an example of how each lane is configured, and the radar beam is set independently for each lane as the cars go through. And we like to say that detection accuracy is not an art, it's a science. This is what we do. We're the leaders in speed, and speed accuracy is just as important in a red light violation as it is in speeding. And when you think about our radars being within plus or minus 1% at 35 miles an hour, that means we're within 0.35 of a mile an hour accuracy with our radars. Benefits of true speed, court-proven secondary evidence. A guy can't come into court and say, oh, yeah, I ran the red light, but I stopped there and backed up. I didn't really go all the way through. The prosecutor will be able to say, well, I'm sorry, sir, you were going 46 miles an hour, and I know the stopping table. There's no way you could have stopped there. It allows us to do that controllable right turn on red that other companies have had trouble with in Ohio. It allows us to do lane determinations. We can do the left turn on green as well. It makes the system more accurate and have less problems with the community. Detection comparison, there's all kinds of different ways that different companies do detections. Video, lasers, hockey pucks, but really we're the only company that provides true speed. It's government certified around the world, and our stuff is purpose-built only for photo enforcement. Many companies use in-ground loops from 3M and hockey pucks from Census that are designed to count cars. People put them in the ground and they count how many cars go to time the light or how many cars go onto the freeway. They've adapted those and try to use them for speed. They're not accurate and they're not improved anywhere for speed measurement. The next part of this after detection is imaging, and I want to talk about our camera for a little bit. And if I had one here, the honking thing's about this big, weighs about 11 pounds. It's purpose-built for photo enforcement. It's got a PC built into it. And that PC allows us to do a lot of things. Designed exclusively for the task. It's an 11 megapixel camera. There are companies out there with 12 and 13 and 14, but you get to a point where all that does is slow down. You download, and you have to shut your system down at 2:30 in the morning to download images. Our system downloads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're never down. We're always doing violations. The key is 12-bit imaging, which I'll explain in a little bit. It's an electrical shutter, not mechanical, can't break down. Built-in PC, digital encryption. We ping it constantly from the engineering office. We'll know it's down before you guys do. Secure remote control, as I spoke about. Low-level flash, infrared for evening to not bother neighborhoods. And our camera with the computer built in, other competitors will use 700 watts of flash for every picture. Noon, nighttime, rain, snow, sleet, 700 watts of flash are going to blast out there. Our maximum is 140. Our lowest flash is 70 watts, and the computer determines how much flash we need, whether it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon or it's nighttime, it's snowing, raining. Our flash varies, only what we need to take the picture. What 12-bit imaging means, if you think about a digital photo, and if you think about a number line from 0 to 4096, 0 being black with the absence of light, 4096 being white or total light. What we can do with a photo with our camera is slice it 4096 times, or I can add light 4,096 times to a photo, starting at black and all the way to the left. And we know